Hello, welcome to another video. Today we are doing the nostalgia book tag, and I was tagged in this by Danny in January, which was 7 months ago, but I wanted to wait until I was in Spain in my childhood house in order to have access to all of my nostalgia books so I can actually show them to you. And now I am, so we're finally getting around to doing this tag video. As the name implies, this is a tag in which I talk about books that are nostalgic to me, so let's get right into it. The first question is, what's the oldest book that you still own? And for that, I am going to go with Hanny and Nanny. This is the first book in the series. I own a substantial amount of the series, although I don't think I ever finished it. And I don't think this is the oldest book that I own, but it's the oldest book I own that I actually remember. I was going through my bookshelf and there's quite a lot of old books that I can't remember whether they're mine or my siblings, and I remember reading this one, I remember loving it, and it's not a picture book, so we're gonna go with this one. Apparently this is by Enid Blyton, which I only just realized, I did not know that, and it's about two siblings, specifically twins, in a boarding school, and I was obsessed with boarding schools when I was a child, and I really wanted to go to one, so. And in case you can't read the title, this is in fact a German translation, which is gonna be a common trend throughout this video, because most of my childhood books are in German. And yes, I am Spanish, don't ask. The second question is the first loved library book, and for this one I'm going to give you two answers. The first one is my first loved library book from my school library, and that was the Freyja Mädchen series. I can't remember which one exactly I started on, but they had a whole bunch of romantic books by different authors, but all in the same sort of style, and I read like a whole bunch of these. I think my library had like 30 of them, all in German, and I'm pretty sure I probably read all 30 of them realistically. And then the second book I want to talk about for this is The Alchemist by Michael Scott, which I borrowed from the public library. I'm pretty sure it was not necessarily the first book, because I remember getting so excited. There was a limit of 10 books that you could get in one go, and I got 10 books in one go the first time I went. But I think this was either the first one I read or like the one I liked most out of those 10 books. I read the Spanish translation for this one because it was the public library in Spain, and I can't really remember that well what it was about, but I think there were two kids with hidden powers and something about aura manipulation. I think they had like a golden aura and a silver aura, but I can't remember very much outside from that. I kind of really want to reread the series now that I'm thinking about it. I don't think I really ever finished it. The third question is a book given to you, and this one was difficult because all of my childhood books were given to me. I didn't have any money, so I decided to go very literal with this and go for two books that were given to me without me choosing them beforehand, which I guess is what the question is. And I have two of them because, again, I couldn't make a decision. And you can actually tell that I didn't choose these books by the fact that both covers are horrible. I don't like them. This is the first one. It translates to Dolphin Magic, and it was about two small children who are shapeshifters and can turn into dolphins and go on an underwater adventure. And the second book is The Röde Zora, which translates to The Red Zora, I guess. Zora is the name of this redhead character here. It's about a group of orphans that try and survive and find food to eat, and it was very good, and I loved all of the characters, but especially Zora was such a great, strong female character. She's in charge of all of them, and I love this book very much. I still really like it. The next question is a book recommended to you, and I am going to go with The Perks of Being a Wildflower. This is actually the Spanish copy, which belongs to my sibling. I had an English copy, and I lent it to a friend because she wanted to practice reading in English, and it's been 7 years and I would like it back, please. This book was recommended to me by an internet friend back in high school, and I didn't have any friends at school. I was being bullied, and I really enjoyed this book. It was a very emotional read. I read it the entire thing in one sitting, which I had never done before, and it still makes me tear up a little bit when I think about the story, and I would like to reread it. So Lara, if you're watching this, I'd like my English copy back, please. The next question is a battle read text.
For this one, I'm going to go with Aragon by Christopher Paolini because it was the first Nostalgia Train book club pick and therefore the first buddy read that I ever did.
I am stealing Danny's answer from this because it is my first ever buddy read. which is Aragon.
I'm gonna just keep on the bandwagon and go with the same answer that Danny and Crystal gave, which was Aragon.
But this is gonna be special to me for a really, really long time because it's the book that brought the Chaos Queens together.
I'm gonna showcase Aragon, especially because it is what brought the Chaos Queens together, thanks to Violet's Nostalgia Train book club.
Do you even need me to answer this one? I mean, obviously we're gonna go for Aragon. The sixth question is a book introduced to you at school, and I really wanted to go with Freyja for this one, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so I am going with Hobbit, which I read in the same course as I read Freyja, and I also have very fond memories of this one. Hobbit is just the name of the character, so I can't translate that, and the other one translates to Freyja, the daughter of thieves, I guess. And this one is about a group of orphans that get taken in by a wizard, and there's some very creepy stuff going on. It is generally very good, I very highly recommend it. And then the other one is, as the title suggests, about a girl that grows up around thieves. And I believe she's expected to inherit the Thieves Guild because her father is the current chief of the Thieves Guild, and it's very cute and very nice, and I really like both of these books. The seventh question is genre fiction that inspires nostalgia, and unfortunately I've got nothing to hold up for this one, but I decided to go with The Hobbit. This book was sent to me when I went to my siblings' friends' parents' dinner party, and I only really tagged along because my parents didn't want to leave me at home by myself, so I just bought a book and read by myself while everyone else was with same-aged peers. But my siblings' friend's father came over to me and gave me his copy of The Hobbit in German because they were a German family. All of these books are in German, I'm sorry. And he told me that I could borrow it, and when I finished reading my current book, I could read that one, and I did. And I had read fantasy before this, fantasy-esque things before this, but I feel like this was my first proper introduction to fantasy that wasn't just like middle grade fantasy. So after I read The Hobbit, I read Lord of the Rings as well and got introduced to the fantasy world like that, and this is very significant to me because that is the genre that I currently read all the time in and also write all the time in. So thanks, siblings' friend's dad. I don't know his name, I don't even know the siblings' friend's name. But this man had a great influence on me, even though I can't even remember what he looked like. The eighth question is a literary work that inspires nostalgia, and I was incredibly confused by this question, so I ended up asking Danny what I was supposed to do for it. And he said that I could just pick a book that inspired me because of the writing style and the way it was executed, rather than figuring out what a literary work means in this definition. So I decided to go with The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Folid, and this is by far the most recent book on this list, or at least the most recent for me. Probably the most recent as well, I don't know when this was published. Oh wow, 1989, so maybe not. But this book was a gift. I was given it by my dad a couple of days after my graduation, when my parents came to visit me in England for graduation, and then we went on a little trip around different places in England together. And we went to Canterbury, which is apparently the cathedral that inspired this book, or that the cathedral in this book is based on. This entire book is about the building of a cathedral. And we were just chatting about it on the way to Canterbury, and he asked if I'd read this book before, and I hadn't. And even though he had a Spanish copy of it in Spain, we just stopped at a train station and he got me the English copy to read because he wanted me to read it while I was there. And then we visited the cathedral together, and it was very nice, and it was such a nice trip, and I have really good memories from it. So even if it was only like 2.5 years ago, this is very nostalgic to me, and I think it deserves to be on this list. And if you don't know what it's about, it's a cast of characters that come together around a cathedral which is burnt down and then rebuilt, and you get this whole like generational story across the timeline that it takes to build this amazing building, and 2 of the characters are the architects, and it's just so interesting. My dad's an architect, so obviously he would really like this, and it's just really, really good. And the final question is a spiritual text which inspires nostalgia, and I am an atheist. I don't really read any spiritual texts, so I'm going to be reframing this question a little bit, and instead I'm going to be talking about a book which was significant to me, not for literature reasons, but for reasons revolving around the content and what it meant for me in my life. I think that's close enough to spirituality, but that's what we're going with. So And I also don't have a copy of this book to hold up for you because this is actually the only book on this list that I haven't read. The book that I decided to go for is More Than This by Patrick Ness. I have never read it. I do not own a copy of this. However, I have read the Chaos Trilogy, I think it's called, if I'm remembering that correctly, as well as A Monster School. And I love these books so much that my 17-18-year-old self decided to follow Patrick Ness on Twitter. And during that time, he decided to do an interview about More Than This, which includes a gay character. And one of the questions was about the decision to include a gay character and how that would influence readers, like they might figure out the sexuality from being able to see themselves represented on the page. And I remember thinking, this is very, very stupid. Me seeing a gay character in a book is not gonna make me question whether or not I'm straight. Fast forward to 24 hours later, when I have been brooding over this question for 24 hours because I could not figure out why it bothered me so much and why I thought this was not gonna work on me. Apparently it did work on me because I realized that I was bisexual 24 hours after reading that interview. You didn't even have to read the book, just think about it a bit. I've been meaning to pick up the actual book since then. I still haven't done it, and that was like 8 years ago, so maybe one day I will read this book. And that was the final question. I've decided not to tag anyone because all the Chaos Queens did this back in January and have already tagged a bunch of people, and I can't remember who has done it or hasn't done it or who's been tagged and hasn't been tagged, so I'm just gonna make life easy for myself, and if you want to do it, please feel free to. You can say I tagged you if you want. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm just gonna hold up my big pile of books for you. That is a lot of nostalgic books. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.